Okay, welcome back. It is raining good news. Today we are doing kicks on the NES HDMI Kevtris. I finally got my HDMI Kevtris repaired and returned. And for those of you who have been paying attention to the channel, you know that last year I bought a HDMI NES front loader that had been modded with the Kevtris HDMI chipset. It was a little bit on the expensive side. The chips are end of life. They're not making any more HDMI mod kits for NESs. So the Kevtris NES front loader I have with the HDMI port and the chipset was expensive, and finding someone to repair it was kind of a challenge. I had to go back to the original website for the Kevtris chipset, and Kevin Horton, the designer of the Kevtris chipset, had a list of approved mod shops that he trusted to put the HDMI mod chips in. So I got in contact with one of those shops. They agreed to take a look at the Kevtris, repair it. They did some work on the contacts and the capacitors, and now it's running great. Thank goodness, because when I first got it, it was running kind of rough, and then I was able to get it to work. Then it was really giving me a hard time. So now, we'll still be doing games on the NES Mini, the SNES Mini, the Sega Genesis Mini, but now we can finally do the entire NES library if we wish. All I need is the cartridge. So to celebrate, I got Kicks on the NES. Another, not a cheap cartridge. Was able to get this one at a bit of a bargain, but this game sells for like $70 on eBay these days. I was able to find a copy for $50, so I was happy about that because I absolutely love Kicks. And really quickly, just wanted to put it out there. Happy Sober October. October is a great month to practice sobriety. No alcohol, no drugs or whatever. Ever since I started exercising really hardcore 6 months ago, I haven't really been drinking. I've pretty much given it up. But what a way to ring in October is to celebrate by doing Sober October. It's good for your health. It's a good way to feel better about yourself. So Sober October, recommended if you're into those sorts of things. I think Joe Rogan endorses it on his podcast. Anyway, Kicks. As you can see, this is a old school, classic style video game. And something that I really love about Kicks is if you're looking at it right now and it's showing you how the game is played, it is absolutely a minimalistic type of game. Personally, I think it is just as fun and addictive as games like Tetris, Wrecking Crew, Pac-Man, Galaga, the original Mario Brothers arcade game, Donkey Kong, Wrecking Crew. I would absolutely put it in a category with those games. And unlike Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Galaga, where the visuals in those games are crude representations of what they're actually supposed to be, this game is unique in that it is just shapes. It is extremely minimalistic visually, and yet it still manages to be very fun and very addictive. I absolutely love this game. And it was ported to just about every platform, including the NES. But the version that I like the most is the Apple IIgs version. That's the version I had as a kid on my dad's Apple IIgs personal computer back in 1986. That is the definitive version of Kicks. Graphics, music, sound, absolutely beautiful. The sticks, or whatever it's called, the kicks, the waving lines that come after you. Sounded like a lightsaber in that game. The colors looked great. In the pinned comments, I'm going to put a video, a link to a video of someone playing the Apple IIgs version of Kick, so you can see what the game looks like on the platform that it is meant to be played on. Okay, so all that finally out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into Kicks. I'm not a master at this game, but I do love this game, and we're going to try to rack up. I'm shooting for 25,000 points. Not sure if we'll get there, but I'm going to go ahead and do some slow lines to try to build up a score. This game, very fun, very addictive. And for me, I just love the minimalism of it. I don't know why. There's something very cool. Now, if I take too long, one of the sparks will actually come up my line. So I don't want to take too long. All right, so for the rant, I thought I would talk about the Apple IIgs a little bit. And this also gives me an opportunity to talk a little bit about my dad. He was a big fan of Apple computers in the 1980s. It's funny, you talk to persons about the Apple computers of the, first wave of PCs. Most don't really know much about them. It's kind of becoming a little bit of lost knowledge. Some seem to remember the original Macintosh, which was actually a commercial failure. But my dad we had the Apple IIc, the Apple IIc Plus, and we also had the Apple IIgs. That was my dad's. And it was the Rolls Royce of Apple computers. Now, back then, Apple computers had, in the 1980s and early 1990s, they basically had a monopoly on the PC market. They got there first, and that's how they were able to get so far ahead of all their competitors. The Apple IIgs, though, visually, it had great sound, great graphics, tons of great games. It took 3.5-inch floppy disks. The IIc and the IIc Plus took those hideous 5-inch floppy disks. Not a good game. Not a good run for me. So we'll try to do a little bit better. And my dad, being the smart guy that he was, he joined an Apple Computer Club in the mid-1980s. And these guys used to... One person might buy a copy of the software of a game or whatever, and then 100 people would get copies. I want to be clear, they weren't pirating the software. They weren't pirating the games because no one was selling them. I think all they asked was that you give them maybe a blank 3.5-inch floppy in return. But jeepers, we had a ton of copied floppy games. We had Leisure Suit Larry, we had Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest, all those great Sierra Online games. Let's see, what else did we have? We had Kicks, Arkanoid. Arkanoid 2, Revenge of Doe, another one of my absolute favorites. Whomever was doing the programming, I think one of them, their names are actually on the screen in the version of Kicks, but I can't remember it, but they did a great job. I think they were charged with programming the Taito games to the Apple 2GS. They did a great job. I think Matt Lund might have been the name of one of them. And I'd like to make it to at least the next level so that I can show off how bad I am at doing the level where there's 2 of the sticks coming after you. And I do know that the basic strategy of this game is to kind of build small boxes on top of one another until you can make it all the way across the middle of the screen. Alright, we almost got 20,000, so we're getting there. I would have liked to have gotten 25,000, but I'm on my last life, so I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, we're over 20,000. And the stick's starting to move really aggressively. But this game, unbelievably fun. I could play this all day. Alright, so 21,645. Could have been better. And the last piece of good news, I'm not going to go ahead and rant about it today. I just thought I'd bring it up. James Rolfe is now officially a plagiarist. He got caught plagiarizing Monster Madness, and I know he is blaming it on the interns that work with him, but he read a plagiarized script in his own voice, on his website, on his show, that was written by someone he hired to write it, or maybe he wrote it himself. Who knows at this point? But allegations of plagiarism, they don't go away. Those are permanent. So congratulations, James Rolfe. You are officially a plagiarist. And that is a allegation that will never go away. Once a plagiarist, always a plagiarist. So anyway, absolutely love Kicks. We'll be playing this game a lot more in the future. Check out the pinned comment. Check out the links. And again, highly recommend Sober October. See how you feel in November once you've completed Sober October. Anyway, we'll come back. We got lots more NES games that we're going to be getting to now that the Kevtris is fixed. So come back soon.